this Nikon ZR? Does it give you the filmmaking superpowers? Well, let's take a look on this picture first. A great photo with a great camera, right? Or is it just about the camera? Today we are talking just about the camera, or are we talking just about the camera? Because we are going to talk about the most hyped camera of 2025, maybe still in 2026, because it's still sold out worldwide almost from everywhere. We are going to talk about the Nikon ZR, the truth, my truth about Nikon ZR after really many scenarios that I have been filming with the Nikon ZR. Sports, nature, lifestyle, short films, really, the content for social media and photography also for my clients even. And I have a quite nice picture what the Nikon ZR is, at least for myself. My trip with the Nikon ZR started back in November. I was invited by Nikon to visit the Stockholm International Film Festivals, filming the event for them, but also as their guest. And I was able to have this really great opportunity to talk with the Nikon people and maybe have a little bit more details about around the ZR. And yeah, let's go through all the features and amazing things about the ZR now. So we are going to go through all the really interesting features inside the ZR and have a real life examples. Little disclaimer first, I'm not a Nikon ambassador. Nikon is more like a client for me. I have been filming events and product videos for them, and I'm really blessed and happy to work with them with the products. But still, I'm here telling the truth and how I really feel to work with the Nikon cameras. I'm going through every feature that I think is most interesting in the Nikon ZR and what Nikon ZR really is. So this is the truth, my truth, based on real life examples, and we are going through them all today on this video. And if you don't know who I am, I made also who I am video, so you get a little bit about a little bit more information about my background. I started full-time photography, filmmaking, and content creation about 2 years ago. And before that, I had a quite long history on media and content creation. So I had this kind of a interesting background, I think so, and a great vision, I think so, a great vision for photography and filmmaking with my own like a spice on it. So what is Nikon ZR? I think we have to go the basics first. What this camera does have inside. I know you have watched already a ton of different kind of YouTube videos and read on articles what Nikon ZR is, but because we are going through the most interesting features in the Nikon ZR, so I think it's important to know what is inside the Nikon ZR. So the Nikon ZR is a first camera made in collaboration with the RED. It's a Nikon's first cinema line camera made with the RED. Nikon acquired RED in 2024, and the Nikon ZR is really the first camera made in collaboration with the RED. And the RED is a company that is making this kind of a bigger, more expensive movie cameras, and they have their own format, R3D RAW, which have, I think, the most interesting or the best, even the best colors on the videos. And well, you know, if you combine that with the Nikon technology, the Nikon knowledge about the photography, and even with the videos, it's a kind of an interesting package, So what the Nikon ZR does have inside, it's equipped with the full-size sensor, 24.5 megapixel full-size sensor with the IBIS stabilizer. So it's kind of a interesting for the filmmaking. It's made for the films. Of course, you can take photos with it. It has a XP7 processor. It's a fast camera. I think it's the fastest processor that Nikon is using in their cameras. So already, it's kind of a fast and really had this kind of a high performance inside. So 24.9 megapixel full sensor with the IBIS. It's a great start, right? Then there is a lot of different formats that you can use. As I told you, it's made with the RED. So it has a RED RAW inside, which is kind of interesting. Before Nikon ZR, you were able to film RED films just with the RED cameras, and they are like thousands of euros starting. So now you have a Nikon ZR that does have a 6K RED RAW 60 FPS. Yeah, RED RAW files are huge, and you need a huge CF Express cards if you want to film a full-length feature film, short film, or even a social YouTube video with the 6K RED RAW. But you know, you can plan it and have a couple of the CF Express cards. But with the RED RAW, there is also, and yeah, it's a 12-bit RED RAW. With the RED RAW, there's a 12-bit Nikon RAW also with the N-Log color science, or what it's called in English, I'm not sure. But yeah, with the Nikon RAW format. And Nikon RAW format is also great. It's almost as huge as a RED RAW in the file size and have a lot of details. So you have a RED RAW, you have a Nikon RAW. Then you have the ProRes. And then you have the H.265 10-bit, so you can film quite more, how you say, package videos with the N-Log profile, picture profile or color profile, whatever it is in English. It's really suitable for longer and the social media content with the N-Log colors, and they are great. You can film with the 6K resolution also, and then there is a 120 FPS 4K DX crop resolution to shoot with. But also there's a full HD 240 FPS resolution that you can use with the H.265 8-bit format. Great, right? It's already a great package with these details. Plus, the Nikon ZR does include the 15-stop dynamic range and the dual-base ISO for the RAW. Well, what does this mean? It's really capable of filming in the low light situations, and as I mentioned you, I have real life examples to show you. And yeah, dual base ISO. It's really great to have inside the cinema camera because there is a 2 base ISOs for the RAW files. There's a 800 low, and then there's a high ISO 2400. And dual base ISO means basically that there is much less noise in your RAW footage when you can switch from the 800 to 6400. And it's really interesting how it works. How it works, really. There is a real life examples to show you. So we have gone through the RAW files, we have RAW formats, the resolutions, the dynamic range, the dual base ISO. What else? There is a internal 32-bit float audio recording, and it's really amazing. This does basically mean that you necessarily don't need a external audio recorder for your footage to have a really great audio for your videos. It does mean that you really can't break your audio. Doesn't it sound great, right? Yeah. And top of that, Nikon ZR is equipped with the 4-inch screen, and 4-inch screen means that it's a huge screen on the camera. I have never seen that large built-in screen on the camera. If you think that you have a 4-inch monitor normally, put it in your camera to see your video footage more like precise, but in Nikon ZR you have a 4-inch screen built in, which is high quality, bright, so you really see everything from there. And these are, I think, the most interesting features in the ZR that we are going through on this video. So if you are not following me already on Instagram or TikTok or here in YouTube, just leave a subscribe, a follow, and I would love that. You will see a lot of this kind of content this year or later this year and later, hopefully later in the future. I will go through every detail based on really truly on my real life examples. So here is a intro. Then we are going the detail by detail through all this, through this all highlighted features that the Nikon ZR have inside. First, I think we have to look on the 6K red raw footage from the also from the perspective of the color grading, because you know red color science that is built inside the Nikon ZR, the red format that Nikon ZR have inside is interesting for the perspective of color grading, of course, for the professional filmmakers and you know, people who make films for YouTube or even the feature films, short films. We always want to have the best colors. Nikon color science is also really great. The N-Log color science that I have been using like 1.5 years now. I have been working with the different Nikon cameras, Nikon Z6 III, Nikon Z5 II, Nikon Z9 I tested last summer, and all them have a Nikon N-Log color profile. Now the Nikon ZR have the red also, and it's really interesting. Here is few examples, and I have a N-Log footage also to really have we can compare them. You know, both are really great, but still the red raw. Why I think it's really interesting and great feature in the ZR is basically you can have a really great colors, really great skin tones, just with much less effort on the color grading. And if you are doing like a YouTube videos, the vlogs, or just the social media post, and you are not trying to make this kind of a different movie atmosphere on your footage, you want to have a great footage with the great colors. And with the red raw files, red raw format, you can really have them with much less effort than I think with any other format, at least what I have used. The Sony, the Nikon N-Log, they are great all, but still the red raw is really, really popping up, and you can do a really great color grading just with a few notes. Here is an example. I was filming the ice hockey game, and you know, this is really great example also for the dynamic range, but let's go first the red raw color grading. Here is a clip from the ice hockey game. You know, here is a few notes, and I just turn them all on, and these are just the basic notes that, you know, the exposure adjustments, the contrast adjustments, and here you have it. It's really looking good already, and it's really hard to film in the ice hockey game in the arena. There is a lot of different kind of LED lights inside, and you don't necessarily have and really never have an external light in your camera. So just a few notes, adjusting some white balance already on the camera, but you can adjust that later on the post process, and you have this great footage. Isn't looking good? And just a little more advanced color grading here, you can have this. It looks amazing, at least from my perspective. And I think color grading is something that you have to learn it, but you also have to make it kind of look yours to really pop up if you want to do your looking footage. And here is another example. I was filming with the Nikon ZR this Christmas in eastern Finland. It was cold. I was filming a full day, taking photos, and I made this short film there. And look at this, just a few notes, basic adjustments. It looks great. And a little bit more notes, and you have this footage. It's looking amazing, right? And here is an example of the N-Log color science, or what it is. Yeah, color science, let's use that word. Here I have a clip from the ice hockey game with the N-Log. It looks great also, but still, just using a few notes, there is a difference. You have to do a little bit more adjustment with the N-Log, I think, but both them look great, and you can shoot with the 6K resolution. Of course, 6K is also making you much larger file sizes, but with both these, the raw footage looks great. And yeah, I know the people are asking, how about the H.265 with the N-Log? Is there a difference between the RAW and the, H.265, which is more digitally packed format? Here is a example from the H.265 N-Log. And it's mostly that I have been using past 1.5 years, because I have been making mostly the social media videos, and full-time filming means huge file sizes. And yeah, I don't know, I don't have any complaints about it. It looks great as with any other really nice Nikon cameras. Okay. About the colors and about the photography, about the filmmaking, of course, the camera doesn't automatically make you a great filmmaker or photographer. It does always require a lot of practice, a lot of technique, a lot of learning, a lot of learning. You have to learn the techniques, really how to shoot, what the angles to use, what is great lighting. Of course, I think the natural lighting that the nature is offering for us is always the best. And the camera doesn't really make you automatically a great filmmaker or photographer. It does give you, the great camera does give you, of course, a really great advanced tools to make great photos, make great videos, but it does require a lot more. Here is an example. I showed you this picture first. I shot this with the Nikon Z5 II. It's an amazing picture. Really, the Nikon colors in photography has always been really the best, I think. At least, the skin tones of Nikon and really the dynamics in the colors. But this picture here that I framed also, this is really the picture from the time almost 2 years ago when I started filmmaking and photography. This is taken with the Sony ZV-E10, the Vila camera. It's from Croatia, really nice sunset. There's a clouds, and then there was a statue there. Before this picture, I have really never took any photography or made a professional videos or films. Yeah, I made a content. I was filming in Croatia these stupid YouTube videos and TikTok content, and I have always been interested in photography and filmmaking. I have always took photos with the, I have a Nikon D40. It's my first camera that I ever had, and I took these normal vacation shots just before all this. And with the ZV-E10, I was thinking back then that I want to try something. I think I have something to give for the videos and photography. And on that trip, it was first time I really tried to take kind of a professional photos and videos. And here is few examples of the video clips taken with the ZV-E10. Yeah, I'm not saying I'm still learning a lot, but if you just think what you are shooting, how you shoot, the technique, the angles and everything, you really get the great shots. After that, I started learning photography and filmmaking really around the clock, and here I am now making my first English review or experience video with the cameras. So, okay, that's the little background information there. Second thing, I think we have to look inside the dynamic range of ZR and the dual-based ISO. I will use an example from the Christmas time when I was filming full day with the ZR outside in the cold. In Finland there is a really cold weather during the winter time, and I was for most of you, I think Joensuu is almost the Lapland. It's not the Lapland, but still it's pretty East Finland. There wasn't much snow back then during the Christmas time. The snow came quite late this year, but it was cold. I was filming kind of in a extreme conditions, and the ZR worked pretty well. And here you see there is a sunset. During the winter time, there is places in Finland where the sun just rises for almost just 11 minutes. So there is not much nature light to use for the films, but huge sunsets, at least at some point of the winter time. Here you see the clip just after the sunset. There is not much, natural light to use, but the dynamic range and the dual base ISO with the 6400 ISO, you can get the footage like this and you see all the details there. It's amazing, right? This is a red raw footage with the 6K resolution, 6400 ISO. And you can see, look at these rocks and everything. There is so much details in it. And I was so impressed about this footage after the day. And I was watching making the color grading and editing. And I was amazed, really. This is a real life example for you with the ZR. And here is another example from that shooting. The sunset is there. There's not much light, anymore, for myself and the place where I was standing, but still it looks amazing. Another example here is I was filming the launch of a new Porsche car. Inside they had quite a bad lighting there. They tried to make this kind of a atmosphere inside the Porsche Center in Turku, and it's filmed without the external light. Yeah, and look at this. This footage is just, I think, amazing. At least I think it's amazing. And yeah, there is not much anything that is breaking here. The footage looks stable and I think great, really. Just a little adjustment always when you are filming inside, and there are these different kind of LED lights that doesn't give you really great lighting conditions to film, but still I think this is great footage and great example of the dynamic range and the dual base ISO of the Nikon ZR. Great. But how about the audio? I think this is maybe the most interesting feature in the Nikon ZR. The 32-bit float audio inside the recording inside the Nikon camera. This is filmed and recorded without an external audio recorder or even without the microphones, just using the Nikon ZR built-in microphone and built-in recording with the 32-bit audio. And yeah, in the ice hockey game, during the ice hockey game, before the game starts, there is this huge intro event. The music is really loud. There is a really loud sound effects and the audience is screaming. And, I was filming in this tunnel where the players are waiting before going to the ice and having this intro event before the game. And, listen this. This is without any adjustments on the audio. Can't listen this because it's too loud. You feel that the audio is breaking out. But watch this. Just decreasing the audio and replay it. What the heck? It's really something that you can't listen, right? You can hear pretty well what the players are talking, and you can use this audio recording in your video, and it's really great quality. The 32-bit audio, I think it's really an advantage tool for filmmakers, for YouTubers, and you don't necessarily need even the microphones. Of course, if you are doing this kind of interviews or YouTube videos, you want to have this microphone here, but you don't necessarily need, if you are a YouTuber or if you are filming the events like this, you don't necessarily need a microphone because you can work with the audio. Of course, if you want to direct the microphone somewhere and have the audio from some direction. You can use the microphones, but necessarily you don't need, and you get the great audio in your videos. And it's, I think, one of the most interesting things inside the ZR, and really helping out your video creation. And you need just much more less effort to create a great videos with the ZR. Yeah, I know the microphones give you a little bit more, how you say it. It makes in some situations your films much easier to work with. You can get the audio wherever you want. But I think the interesting and the most really greatest thing with this 32-bit audio and the great built-in microphone is that you don't need that audio recorder, and you make your camera and the kit much lighter, which is important for myself at least, because I'm doing a lot of this moving filming and photography. And if I have a light setup with me, it's always welcome, because it's much easier to work with it, and really it's easier to using the camera in the places where it could be hard when you have this huge setup around your camera. So I think this is a great example about the 32-bit audio built inside, and I'm really still amazed about this clip. How about the 4-inch screen of the ZR? I mentioned that it's really huge, that you don't really need a monitor anymore if you use the Nikon ZR, and that is true. You don't necessarily need a monitor when you are filming. And this is the other thing that is really great I think, at least from my perspective, and I feel so, because if I don't need to monitor, it makes your setup, again, much more lighter, and it's easier to work with when you are shooting videos or making videos and photography as hybrid. You don't just need to work, take off the monitor and put on the monitor again, because you can see from this huge, large 4-inch screen, bright, high quality, everything that you need, and you can't miss the shot. And there is a features inside the ZR. You can put your LUTs inside and use them, and you see your footage as a Rec 709, or if you put your own LUT inside there, you see almost ready color graded footage already inside your camera when you are previewing your videos, and it's really great. It's really great, and I'm really amazed that these all features are inside the ZR. Yeah, what else? I think the slow motion things are kind of a trendy, or they have been trendy lately, and the 120 FPS footage, or even the 240 FPS footage is great. It's high quality. Of course, you have to be more precise when you are making the focus and everything. But here is an example for 4K 120 FPS footage made in slow motion. I made it like 10% from the original speed of the footage, and look at it. Just a kind of a really slow motion, and it looks great, right? 4K, yeah, it's DX crop 4K, but still with the N-Log color profile, amazing. You can make a great slow motion also with the 60 FPS, 6K red raw, and I think that is really amazing. But yeah, here are, I think, the most interesting features about the ZR. And then people are asking, how about the photography? Well, there is a full-size sensor, 24.5 megapixel full-size sensor, and it's a Nikon camera, so it does have the Nikon colors in the photography. I have been using ZR in the photography. I took even a client shots with the ZR. Here is a few examples. I'm a hybrid photographer, videographer, content creator, and I think it's really great to take the photos and take videos at the same time, and you can see everything from that high quality 4-inch screen, because Nikon ZR does not have a viewfinder. And I know, at least for the nature photographers, the viewfinder is something that they require. I think so, maybe. Yeah, I understand that, because if you have this huge optic, like 400 millimeter optic, you want to look your shots mainly from the viewfinder, high quality viewfinder. But the Nikon ZR, there's no viewfinder. Yeah, it's a cinema camera, and that is the reason. The body is like this box cinema body, which is normal for the cinema cameras. But for the photography, I think Nikon ZR is really great also for the photography. And if you are making videos, taking photos at the same time as a hybrid, you don't really necessarily need a viewfinder if you have a high quality large screen. You can take even the nature photos with it, with the huge optic, and you really see everything that you need and take great photos with it. And that is my opinion. Yeah, it takes time to get used to it. If you don't have the viewfinder, but I feel it's even more impressive and, ergonomic to take photos with the huge screen than just using the viewfinder. I understand, why people like the viewfinder in the photography, but still, if you are making the photos and videos at the same time, really this 4 inches high quality screen is saving your life with the ZR, and you can work with you can take photos and take videos at the same time, and there is no problem with that. But how about the body? How about the build quality that people are asking? Well, as I mentioned, the Nikon ZR, which is almost still one of the really greatest features, that it's a small camera. The body weight's just a little bit over 500 grams. And it's this kind of a box, normal cinema camera. There is a kind of a lot of plastic on it, but it does not still feel a plastic camera. It feels high quality camera, and the interface, there is not this much manual buttons in the camera that you normally have. And everything works from this, large 4-inch screen. And I have read that some people are complaining that why there is not this much and that, and everything have to be done from the screen. But I think this is something that, it's an upgrade. It's something that, the cameras are going, because, I like when the technology is taking a step forward, and the cameras are making their way more digital, and you get used to it, to set up almost everything from the screen. And I even liked it. After first week of the use with the ZR, I even like that everything is, you make every setup mostly from the screen, and I don't really miss all these manual buttons to use with the camera, because everything is there. And I know, some people are complaining about the interface of the camera, the setups on all that. I think they are great. You can really program a lot of those buttons that there are on top of the camera and the back of the camera, and you really can find everything even faster, I think, than from the normal manual buttons. At least I feel so, because I'm mostly filming the videos, it's really working for me, and you really get to used to it, that if you don't have that much of a manual kind of a technical buttons around the camera, and you have to set up your settings from the screen and make your footage look great in every scenario. So yeah, after many scenarios, from sports to nature to lifestyle to content to short films, Nikon ZR works pretty well. And here is an example. I made a short film called The Last Call, and there is this 6K red raw footage, color graded with the red format. You can really make great films with it. Really, I think so. And this is just a the taste thing, or the beauty is in the eyes of the viewer or who is watching. But I was interviewing the Mike Figgis back in November in Stockholm when I was visiting Stockholm International Film Festivals. The Mike Figgis is a Hollywood director, and he said about the Nikon ZR that it's really great camera for the feature films even. And I think so too. It's really great camera even for the filmmaking, really the high quality filmmaking. If you think that the Hollywood film Creator was made partly with the Sony FX3, and the new 28 days later was made with this iPhone rig that at least some part of the film. The Nikon ZR works really well. You have the red color science on it. You have the great built-in audio recording inside the camera, and everything that you really need for great films to make. Of course, you need a technique. As I told you, the camera automatically doesn't make you the great filmmaker. But the conclusion about the ZR, the truth that might shock all you, it's really great camera, but I don't think it's just a Nikon camera. Really. It is. There is a lot about Nikon inside the Nikon ZR. But I truly think that Nikon ZR is two cameras inside one camera. It's a really great Nikon camera with all these familiar Nikon colors on photography. There is a lot of similarities in the build, even though it's not a normal build Nikon camera with the with this handle or grip, whatever you call it. It's a box for big hand user. For example, in the start it can feel it's small and hard to have a grab, but most of the time when you are filming the videos, you build a small cage around it. But I feel that even without the cage, the Nikon ZR is really nice to use, and you get used to it. The small size, you can really film with just one hand, and in the places where that's normally really hard to go, at least in the sports, because you have to be in a different kind of positions, really even almost the impossible positions. But the Nikon ZR size and the weight of Nikon ZR make those so much easier. And you can really work with the big hands with the Nikon ZR, even without any handler or handle grip cage. And the conclusion, yeah, Nikon ZR is really great camera and really worth of all that hype you have heard about it. I think it's a Nikon camera with all those amazing Nikon features, but it also is a small red camera. And it's really great because it's really affordable camera. The Nikon body costs only, and I say only, $2,200 or 2,500 euros, because you don't necessarily need those external audio recorders or external monitor, and you save money from them. You can save those bucks or euros or dollars, whatever you call your money, and use them in the body and the lens, and you have a really great camera with you to go the photo shoot, make a videos, and have it even as your first camera or the second camera, and it's really, really great. You get the Nikon camera and the red camera in the same package with really great price, because as I told you, these red cameras cost a tons of euros or dollars, and you get that red colors inside the Nikon camera with the 6K 60 FPS resolution. I think this is really amazing and worth of all that hype you have heard around here on YouTube or social media. So I hope this truth really gave you something about the Nikon ZR, you enjoyed this video, give me a follow and comment what you think about the ZR, and hopefully I meet all you in my next video about photographic cameras, filmmaking and content creation. So thank you for watching and see you in the next video.